It befell in the days of utter Pendragon, when he was king of all England, and so renowned there was a many duke in for Newall that here were against them long time. Thefin, the sage and the assault was seated at throne. The boring brightened and brent to Browden, and asked the took that the tremis of Tresono the wert Selthan the sage and the assault what saist a troith why Bort Britain and Brent to bode aske the talk that That's the sound of my mutilated nail. Sethen the sage and that assault what said that Troy the bort bitted and brent to bronze and ask they took that the premise of treason through what tried for his treachery that through west on the earth hit what honest the Ethel and his high kin that Stephen the Prost pronuncius and pronuncius became within of all the while in the west lies fro Richard Romulus to Rome reaches him swithe with great barbarians that bird he begs for upon first and noyes hit his anonym as hit now hat trekkes to Tuscan and Tidus by Gamus Langenbardra in Lombardia lift vipe homes and for the French fold flux Brutus on money Balkans full board the baton he sat when and Wrecker Wonder by Slithe had want per in and oft both bliss and blunder full second had the scalfed shen. Well, that was a mouthful and very difficult to read, even when you do know Thorn and such things like that, partly. Juan dat April, with his sure suitor, the draught of March hath pierced to the root, and battered every van in such sweet liquor, of which virtue engendered is the floor. When Zephyros ache with his sweet breath and spirit half in every halt and half, the tender cropris and the young son hath in the ram his half a course year on, and smaller fowls make a melody that sleeping all the night with open ear. So pricketh him nature in aircarages than longing folk to go on pilgrimages and palmers for the sake of strandes to fern hollows couth in sundry landes, and specially from every shire's end of England to Canterbury thy wind, the holy blissful martyr for to seek, that him have hopen when that they were sick. Here beginneth a transit, how the High Father of heaven sendeth death to summon every creature to come and give account of their lives in this world, and is the minister of a morrow play messenger. I pray you all give your audience and hear this matter with reverence by a figure, a moral play, the summoning of every man called it, is how Transity will be all day. To obey or to not obey, that is the question, whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them, to die, to sleep no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, trance, to dream, aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have suffered, shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause. There's respite. There's the respite to stand. Who is that? 'Tis I. Oh, you come most carefully upon your watch, and if you were who's there? Who's there? 'Tis I. Oh, you came most carefully upon your watch, and if you meet Marcellus and Horatio, the partners of my watch, bid them make haste. I will. Say, who goes there? Horatio and Marcellus, friends to this ground, and leaguemen to the Dane. Oh, farewell, honest soldier, who hath recalled you. Bernardo hath my place. Give you good night. Hola, Bernardo. Say, is Horatio there? A piece of him. Welcome, Horatio. Good welcome, Marcellus. What hath this thing appeared again tonight? I have seen nothing of man's first obedience and of that forbidden tree whose mortal traits brought death into the world, and all our woe with lots of Eden till one greater man restore us and regain in the blissful seat, sing heavenly muse, that on the secret top sing heavenly muse, that on the secret top of orb or sani doesn't inspire that shepherd who first thought the chosen seed in the beginning, how heavens and earth rose out of chaos, or if Sinon hill delight thee more, and Salanas brook that flowed faced fat by the oracle of God, I tenants invoke thy aid to my adviser's song, that with no middle flight intends to soar above. Paradise Lost. Of man's first obedience and the fruit of that forbidden tree, whose mortal taste brought death into the world, and all our woe, whose Eden till greater restore us, and regain the blissful seat, sing heavenly muse, that on the sacred top of orb or sani didst inspire that shepherd who first taught the chosen seed in the beginning, how heavens and earth rose out of chaos, or if Sinon hill delight thee more, and brook that flowed fast by the oracle of God invoke thy aid to Virtus song intends to soar above and on mount pursuits obtended, yet in prose or rhyme, and chiefly thou, O spirit, that thus prefer before all templates the upright heart and pure, instruct me, if thou know'st, thou from the first vast precessed, and with mighty wings outspread, dove-like sat bordeling on the vast abyss, and madest it pregnant within me is dark illume. What rise and support that to the height of this great agreement I may assert eternal providence and justify the ways of God to men. Opening lines. I was born in the year 1632 in the city of York, of a good family, though not of that country, my father being a foreigner of Bremen, who settled first at Hull. He got a good estate by merchants, and leaving off his trade, lived afterwards at York, from whence he had married my mother, whose relations were named Robinson, a very good family in that country, and from whom I was called Robinson Crusader. But by the usual corruptions of words in England, we are now called, nay, we call ourselves and write our name Crusoe, and so my companies always called me. Being the third son of the family and not bred to any trade, my head began to be filled very early with rambling thoughts.